as usual, technical things mean I need to do that. Righty ho. Welcome everybody to August 2009. Get back in the non-copyright infringing DeLorean. Yeah, I made another Nirvana the band the show reference. But it's finally out here tomorrow, legally. Thank God. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff to talk about with August, considering how it's been a mixed bag. There's a couple that we've already referenced in either previous podcasts or previous retrospective talks. But then there's a couple of big ones, at least. But yeah, let us lap into July the 7th, 2009.
This is August,
yeah,
right?
August, my bad. Sorry, I'm getting ready for July.
So,
I've got July in the brain. I ain't got a hat that don't fit me.
So I said last week that I was in like a really sad place personally, and the month of July was really underwhelming in 2009. So I don't know how much we were able to bring you for that one, but while I am still in that place personally, there's a lot in August, which is interesting because August is usually the dead month of the year. But August 2009, at least for us, has a lot to talk about. So I guess the first thing listed here is Cold Souls. I don't know if you remember this one, Owen. It's the Paul Giamatti one where he plays Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
And he has his soul extracted because it's getting too heavy. And the soul gets... There's a whole Russian subplot where his soul gets sold to, like, this Russian dude's wife who wanted an American actor, but everybody else was unavailable, so she got Paul Giamatti. While he's in the middle of trying to do Uncle Vanya, so it's a whole crossover. I remember this coming on our radar, and it kind of, at the time, it kind of felt like a Moon situation where it was like, does anybody else know about this? Are we hallucinating this movie? I will say, I don't know what to say about marketing because it wasn't a marketed movie.
No.
You basically had to find it. And as it turns out, our last video store around here, when it died several years ago, and they were getting rid of their inventory, I actually found a physical copy of it.
Oh, wow.
And I will tell you something. If you should happen to come across this, if you're browsing physically somehow in another alternate universe, or you're thrifting, you'll come across this where the comments are, the New York Times said flat out funny. Peter Travers said you'll laugh till it hurts. Entertainment Weekly said darkly funny. That's more correct. If you pick this up and you're looking for flat out funny or you'll laugh till it hurts, personally, I think that's extremely misleading.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's funny and it is darkly funny and it's very low key funny. But if you're a regular person and you see flat out funny and you'll laugh till it hurts, you're gonna have a really bad time with this movie.
Yeah.
But like I said, it is funny in its way, but it's not. Outside of the people who are like really deeply as into movies as I am, I don't know anybody personally I'd recommend this movie to. But I don't want that to sound as damning as it probably does. It's just kind of weird and a little bleak. But if you have that really, really certain specific sense of humor, something might click. I remember thinking that any time it got away from Giamatti playing a really sad sack version of himself, which you can already imagine if you don't know. When it shifted away from that to do the Russian subplot, it kept losing me. But they do eventually tie together. in kind of a funny way. So there's that. But yeah, overall, it's just this sort of feels like off the radar kind of thing where it's like it's not as fun to watch the movie as it is to tell people that it exists and try to explain it. I feel like that's its reason for existing, at least to me. Does any of that bring anything back, Owen?
I mean, I think this isn't this the time where we're worshiping the ground that Michael Stuhlbarg walked on? Or this was before or after?
A Serious Man was coming later. I think before A Serious Man, he wasn't really on our radar.
Okay, so we're off on time because, of course, we are because we have to be off on time. But yeah,
I'm trying to figure out where you're going with Stuhlbarg since he's not in this.
Hey,
yeah, he is
the hedge fund consultant.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, I don't remember that. Probably because A Serious Man.
The irony is as well. It sort of was one of this along with Serious Man, maybe bar his little appearance in Body of Lies a year before, was like his first major significant appearances in movies, because obviously he would have done a few appearances here and there. On I see him in 2 episodes of Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip and Damages, Law and Order, and Ugly Betty, but
these also would have been right before Boardwalk Empire, right?
Yeah, Boardwalk Empire was 2010. So
yeah. So and now that you mention it, I'm trying to remember if when we saw Serious Man, we were like, did we see him in Cold Soul?
Probably. If you look at the filmography after that, it's all stuff that we watched. Granted, a lot, I think the weakest one there obviously is Men in Black 3, but he's great in it. And because you got those 7 Psychopaths, Lincoln, Hitchcock, Blue Jasmine, all that stuff came out one basically after another in the next couple years.
Okay, hot take. Men in Black 3 is better than Blue Jasmine.
Ooh.
I actually like Men in Black 3 a lot, so I'm kind of in a different place.
No, I would say Men in Black. No, I didn't say I dislike Men. I think of that lineup, I would say, yeah, I like Blue Jasmine more than you. I remember that for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, this is one of those movies that I'm glad it exists as a talking point. I think more than as something to actually watch. But yeah, that's how I remember it. Should we go on?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember if you saw this or not, Owen.
Okay.
Because this was during that period, and that's when I saw it. It's G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra.
I did.
So here's the thing. I have a rocky relationship with Stephen Sommers.
Yeah.
Really don't care for Van Helsing. I wish I loved The Mummy more than I do. A very close friend is helping me with that. But I've never really taken to him overall. But I feel like I had a guilty pleasure good time with this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. This might be another one where I saw it at the theater, and then maybe when it was on HBO or something the next year, maybe.
Okay.
But there are parts of this movie I don't remember at all, and there are parts of this movie I remember vividly. And every scene I remember vividly involves Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yep. That's how I know I've seen it.
Because when it was coming out, it's funny because it's like a twist in the movie, I think. But it came out early. Like it was on his IMDb credit that he was playing Cobra Commander. and everybody was like, "How does this work? What's this gonna be like?" And he was promoting the movie. He was doing like he wasn't doing like talk shows, but he was doing like, you know, internet interview. This is 2009, so it was like you may or may not have seen somebody be interviewed on something strictly on YouTube or something. And he was you could just wanted to get that press tour over as quickly as possible. Especially since he would have had Inception coming up in about a year. And I don't know what else I need to say except this is a performance I remember vividly. That's and yeah, Jonathan Pryce is there as the president in both movies. Sometimes I forget there was a sequel.
Oh, I don't. That the sequel was The Hurt Locker. 20 minutes. Oh yeah, let's just kill Channing Tatum off. Here's the new lead. Insert Dwayne.
But yeah, I just remember it being okay. I remember Brendan Fraser has a cameo in it, and Arnold Vosloo's in it. So any Mummy fans get that. Adewale Akinnuoye is in it too. So if you like The Mummy Returns as well, you're getting the whole Stephen Sommers package. But yeah, I'm curious what it would be like if I watched it now. And yes, I do have a copy of it, so I could find out. But right now, I like the memory of it's like a guilty pleasure movie that kind of caught me by surprise and how fun it was. But I'm not in a hurry to see if that holds up or not. Except I do kind of really want to see the Joseph Gordon-Levitt performance again. So for better or worse, it's sort of like I don't know if I want to go directly to Jesse Eisenberg and Batman vs Superman, but Gordon-Levitt, believe it or not, is more over the top.
Yeah.
But that's my takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember of it, it was not bad for what it was trying to be, which is basically, you know, a Hasbro commercial, just like the original sort of cartoon series was. Then again, I'm trying to remember whether the cartoon came before the figures or not, because I think it was like the other way around for He-Man, and that the figures came before the cartoon, but it was like that's where they sort of had to bring in the rules that you can't have something sort of be advertising. You know, like it has to be sort of the other way around, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was okay. Certainly very B movie esque, but then considering the way of Summer's stuff usually goes, you know, Deep Rising, The Mummy, the Mummy films that he directed, but even then, you know, the one he didn't direct, Scorpion King and Van Helsing are very sort of B movie esque, but enjoyable. At least, you know, I felt.
As I say, I think B movie was the right call for something like this. And I think that's why I love the Joseph Gordon-Levitt performance so much. Is it's like, yeah, this is the tone we should be at. Because this is also at the time where everything had to be like gritty and realistic and stuff like that, and like we were at like peak Nolan at this point, and it's like, yes, let's have something that's just goofy as fuck in this territory.
Then again, I always found it weird
Plus,
because like G.I. Joe somewhat became Action Man over here, even though I think it was actually branded as Action Force, the actual G.I. Joe stuff, but Action Man was always considered like the British version, even though they're technically. Oh no, there we go. Action Man was a licensed copy. So I think, but if you tried to do an Action Man thing, I think people wouldn't take you seriously because Mr. X would basically be the crazy mohawk guy from Ski or Die on DOS. He's just got like weird facial hair, glasses, and a pink mohawk. Like, then again, like that changed over time because he got disfigured and things like that. So, but yeah, sort of after seeing as well what Levitt had done in the like few years before, and of course that year with 500 Days of Summer and everything that we've obviously talked about, it was weird to see. I think it was the first time we saw him as an out and out villain I can think of.
That feels well. Killshot was somewhere in here.
Yeah,
We were still trying to figure that out.
but I mean, I guess in
Yeah,
terms of like stuff that got major attention, you know, other than that, it was, you know, Brick and his voiceover of Treasure Planet and whatever. Was he a bad guy in Halloween? Probably.
and all of his stuff as a child star, Angels in the Outfield and Third Rock and stuff like that. Also, this has Marlon Wayans in it, and I grew up on anything and everything related to the Wayans family. So even in adulthood, still, I saw Scary Movie 6 when I probably shouldn't have, but I will follow that family anywhere. So Marlon Wayans being in this helped as well. For better or worse, I will follow that family
it's kind
anywhere.
of crazy
Sometimes
is apparently he only got the gig because of Requiem for a Dream. Apparently.
Yeah, because you know when you think of one, you'll think of when you think of Requiem for a Dream. Of course, you think, yeah, G.I. Joe. That's right. I mean, Skeletor is in Requiem for a Dream as well. So
It now makes me
what can you
wonder
do?
what Lorenzo de Bonaventura was off his tits on. Oh, but he also produced the Transformers. That's it. He was snuffing Motor Royal. Confirmed.
Oh, and do you have anything else on G.I. Joe?
I remember not liking it at the time, but I guess it was.
I'm really trying to remember when you would have seen it because it wasn't with me.
No, it wasn't.
Maybe after you like got off a shift or something.
I think that might have been the case, or it could have been. It might have been maybe.
That would make sense.
I feel like that actually does make the most sense, honestly. So I feel like that would be the case because, yeah, I would say it was probably a morning movie.
Yeah, no, I don't remember, but Kevin J. O'Connor's apparently here also, so you're like really getting your mommy fix if you need it with this cast.
Yes.
The next movie I don't remember much about. I think we watched it for the Spirit Awards.
Okay.
So we definitely didn't see it in August. We saw it much later, but it's I Sell the Dead. The movie with Dominic Monaghan about the grave robbers. Yeah, I don't remember. I remember it being like really fun and really weird, but I don't remember specifics too much. Do you remember what? I think it was up for the Producers Award at the Spirit Awards, and that's why we saw it. It was like really far down.
No, you want to talk about obscure stuff we watched for the Spirit Awards for one category? I go back to like Bellflower and Fish Tank, so and only those.
Bellflower still makes me nauseous when I think about it. That's just such an unpleasant movie.
Not wrong.
Fish Tank might be in this year somewhere.
I think it is actually, or it might be 2010.
But yeah, I wish we could remember more about I Sell the Dead because I remember having a good time with it and thinking it was like really unique and fun and weird, and it's got a wild cast with Larry Fessenden and Angus Scrimm and Ron Perlman. I mean, that's exactly the kind of cast you expect in a movie like this.
It doesn't seem like a movie I would have yo-yoed through.
Yeah, and Glenn McQuaid is the director. I'm pretty sure he did a VHS segment or something along those lines.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. So I just did those videos last year. I should know.
Then the first one, which is the one that I've watched, so.
So this next one, I don't remember much about. Maybe you remember a little more. I don't know. It seems more like your thing than my thing.
Possibly.
It's Julie and
Bon
Julia.
appetit.
Because you had an Amy Adams thing for a long time.
I did.
The only reason I don't even think I saw this when it. I think this was another one where it wasn't until the DVD came out, because I don't think I watched it until I had to, because we knew Meryl was getting nominated.
Mm-hmm. You're correct.
And that's the only, just an Oscar checklist, I think, is the only reason I remember watching this. I don't really remember anything specific except the concept of going back and forth in time between them. And I remember Julie, like, shockingly dying a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie kind of came back in sight a little bit when that happened, but other than that, I mean, and it's a Nora Ephron movie, so you would think it would stick more. But I only remember this as another Meryl nomination movie, and we all knew that the second she was cast.
Yeah, Meryl Streep, Julia Child. What do you expect?
Yeah, so
What season? Everyone knows it.
oh my God, Lindsay Felton was in it. I don't remember that.
Yeah, she was.
She's very last on the Wikipedia list here, but she's there. So, and yeah, there's so many people here that I don't remember being in it. I don't remember Aykroyd being in this. I don't remember Vanessa Ferlito being in this, or Jane Lynch, Marilyn Rice Cub, Casey Wilson. There's a lot of people in this, and I don't remember any of them being here. Mary Kay Place, apparently. Do you have any specific memories?
I 1,000,000% watched this as a morning movie. I definitely remember it. I don't know. It's one of those things that's like, when I found out the concept, it was the time that I was like, is because this would have been before Enchanted.
This was 2 years after. Because I think Enchanted was when your Amy Adams thing started.
It is where my Amy Adams thing started. And it pretty much went for a long time, actually. And I remember seeing that Meryl Streep was going to play Julia Child, and I was like, okay, fine, I'm in. Let's go. Let's see if this works. I'm sure she can pull it off. But for the life of me, I don't remember much about the movie at all.
It did. It showed off more of her chemistry with Tucci. I remember that was a big thing in it.
I kind of feel Sarah Lancashire's performance in the TV series did a better depiction of Julia than what we got. Admittedly, that's up because you've got, give or take, like 12 hours or whatever to go with it, rather than what was it, like 100? Oh, it was 2 hours. I wasn't sure whether it was under or in the sort of 2 hour ballpark and whatever. I feel like that sort of did a better job, especially because sort of with the second series, it actually sort of more dove into the whole the McCarthyism stuff, of which you obviously aren't going to be able to do that, because with Julia and Julia, it needs to be sort of equal ended and whatever. But maybe that's because of the little tidbits that you got here and there from the movie is eventually what led HBO to create that series. I'm guessing, because there was way more things that you could have, pulled on than just show some bits of her just to show what she went through, because it's somehow similar to Julia cooking all 524 recipes in 365 days.
Is that the extent of that?
Yep.
Okay, Owen, here's another one for you.
Oh no.
This is a movie so unique to you. There's something rare about it. I don't know where you're keeping these days, but I happen to know for a fact, because I was there when you got it, this is a movie you own on DVD.
Okay.
It's Paper Heart.
I figured that's what it would be.
I don't remember much in specific. I remember the movie for sure, but the main thing I remember was it's basically a movie about Charlene Yu falling in love with Michael Cera, and they play themselves.
Yep.
If I remember correctly.
You're correct.
And it's kind of played like a documentary, if I remember correctly. Because I remember the thing I remember most vividly about this movie is going back and forth and wondering if it was real or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the rom-com version of Blair Witch. It's like, is this real? Like, it feels very real, but surely it's not. It has a director. They're all actors. but I remember genuinely wondering, like, what was real and what wasn't. Like, Jake Johnson is third here. I don't know that I would have known who he was at the time.
Probably not.
But Rogan, Dimitri Martin, Martin Starr, Paul Rust, Paul Scheer. Sorry, Derek Waters, I don't quite remember who you are. You're the only one I skipped. Oh, he's a drunk history person, okay. So yeah, Owen, what memories do you have?
I don't want to. I know I like this movie, and yeah, I can say that. Because I'm looking at it now, and I was like, okay, I'm able to say that. I don't want to get canceled or anything like that. I had a weird, not I don't call it weird because it's not weird at all. I don't know, it just connected with me, and I had a thing for Charlene Yee. She kind of reminded me of somebody from my past a bit, and at that point,
Is this somebody from your past that's in my present?
That is absolutely correct.
That makes sense.
And you see the comparisons as well. I'm sure of it. 1,000,000% in every way, shape, and form. I think that's what it was, honestly. And I mean, I like. It was the Michael Cera, Jesse Eisenberg thing for the longest time. And I remember liking both of them equally, but I always liked Eisenberg more. But then again, when Cera went for like indie roles, I would dig him because it would remind me of Jesse Eisenberg. So I feel it was just a cute movie that I connected with.
Because they were together for real, right?
No, it was all work.
Wow. It's very believable if I remember correctly.
Said everything with Charlene, Mike, and I was fictional. Everything on the road is real.
Yeah, the only quote unquote fictional players were Lee, who obviously she now goes by Loma Tuk because they've transitioned to being gender fluid and whatever, so they've changed their name to
Correct.
Sarah plays a fictionalized version, and then Jake Johnson basically is playing the co-writer and director because he didn't want to actually appear in it. So Jake is the only person that basically doesn't play himself either for real or fictionalized. Instead, he's basically a fictionalized Nicholas Jasenovich.
So when I feel like I remember this, so I imagine when I saw Jake Johnson in this, I probably assumed he was the real director.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right?
That's right.
That about fits it, yeah.
So, does that take us to the next one?
Yes.
Okay, somebody brought this movie up during a live recently, and I got to mention a little bit how much I love this movie. So I don't know how much more I should add to that. We're at A Perfect Getaway now.
Oh, nice.
I was just talking about this a couple of times relatively recently. So I remember this movie's trailer, and I imagine, I don't want to spoil this movie, but it's also almost 20 years old. But I want people to seek it out if they haven't seen it, so I'm not sure how to approach this. It's one of those movies where, I don't know about anybody else, but I was watching the trailer when the trailer was on other movies. And I remember thinking, wouldn't it be cool if this was the twist? And that's exactly what the movie is. By watching the trailer, if you think enough and are like, it'd be cool if it was this, it's that. But even despite that, you would think that would make it easy to dismiss and say, oh, it was predictable and that's it. No, this is like, I was talking to a really close friend a few weeks ago, and we went down a Steve Zahn rabbit hole. And I jumped back a few years in terminology because just as an instinct, when the movie came up, I said, oh my god, that movie fucks so hard. That's still how I feel about it. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I watched it enough times at the time that and I remember it vividly enough that I am sure that my opinion on it still stands without even having to rewatch it. Because I could probably still tell you nearly every beat of it right now. And especially seeing this kind of Steve Zahn is really interesting because without saying too much, he's doing a lot of different things throughout this movie. It feels like he's playing 2 or 3 different characters in one performance. And then you've got Timothy Olyphant on the other side of that. You've got Mia Jovovich alongside him. It's like really surprisingly brutal when we get to the third act. Like, it builds up that it's going to be kind of a brutal movie, but it's kind of not for a long time, and then it just starts. The movie becomes very aggressive in this in this really weirdly appealing way for like a horror thriller. And yeah, I remember being really taken by, like, I figured it'd be a movie I'd kind of dig, but it made my top 10 of the year. And it probably still would if I looked at that list again. And it's funny, it's by David Toohey because I don't give a fuck about Riddick. I can't think of, he did The Arrival, the Charlie Sheen movie, which I've talked about on this channel, but he's done a lot of stuff I didn't care about.
Yeah,
I fell in love with
one of the
this.
writers behind Waterworld and G.I. Jane too, as well. And apparently he's still attached to whatever that, I guess, fourth Riddick film?
Yeah, fourth. I hate that I know that. This was also the red herring of the movie is Chris Hemsworth before we knew who Chris Hemsworth was. He's just there to look threatening and be a red herring. Owen, do you remember much about this one?
I don't, but whenever I go to Steve Zahn, I always think of three things actually. And one of them I don't want to really mention because I've said it a billion times, and now I feel like it's not appropriate to say anymore. So for obvious reason, but I've enjoyed Steve Zahn since That Thing You Do.
Yeah.
He bears a very strong resemblance to somebody who was canceled a long time ago because he went crazy and committed bad things.
Oh, I know what you mean.
But I'll still believe 100%. Just like with Dennis Quaid, I still believe, even though those things will never happen, that if they could, they would.
Again, I don't want it to seem like I was laughing at bad things happening in real life. It's just the fact that you mentioned this so many times brought me back to that memory. That's what made me laugh. I just want
had
that to be.
I mean, come on. It's like, look at him look at this person, if you can, side by side with Steve Zahn, and yes, a million times yes.
Do you want me to be the one that says it out loud?
I can say it. It's fine. I always thought a long time ago. I mean, I'll just throw the old gimmick out here. Before he got canceled, I've always been saying for years that Dennis Quaid needed to play Vince McMahon, and I still believe that to be the truth. But one thing that I've been saying since day one, since I started seeing him in more serious roles, I thought Steve Zahn would play Chris Benoit.
And not to make anything about a fictional character and a real person. I imagine this movie helped.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. He's come a long way since the Oneaters, good sir.
And I feel like even though I haven't said anything explicitly, if you're paying attention to what I'm saying, I have totally crossed the spoiler line.
You have, but you know that. You would know.
But you should still see this if you haven't. It's wild and awesome. Plus, I think I totally went into the spoilers when we talked about it in the live anyway. So yeah.
I would say you did actually. That seems like more of a live situation anyway.
So is that this one?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember much about this one. It's Band Slam. We saw this at the theater, and I think the only thing we knew was it was a Vanessa Hudgens movie that Lisa Kudrow was also in. And I'm just remembering now, based on these credits, that Bowie showed up somewhere, presumably as himself, which I think I vaguely remember. But yeah, this is okay. It's coming back to me a little bit. This is the one where the kid got the DUI, so they call him Dewey, right? Does that sound familiar?
That sounds right.
Okay, I don't think I'm confused. I'm pretty sure this is that movie.
I could be wrong, but that sounds logical.
I remember him being he's to this day still an actor I don't think I know, but I remember him being I remember him being a good lead character for this movie. Like he was sympathetic and likable in a way. And I think that's what made this movie because obviously I imagine with Vanessa Hudgens especially, this movie kind of had like slightly darker Disney vibes.
Well, considering the fact that Ali Mashaka's in it too, and it's technically her debut as an actress.
I remember this being a movie that was much more on your radar than mine, which makes sense. So I didn't really have expectations, but I remember being surprised by, like, I don't dislike this.
So it was, in this case, it would have been 3 years after Phil of the Future, and that's how I knew Ali Mashaka. I knew of Ali and AJ as performers and knew a little bit about their like discography. And obviously I'm a High School Musical mark, so I mean, yeah, this jumped at me immediately, and I can't remember anything about it, but I will say that I have a feeling there's almost no way I didn't enjoy it because just the concept
I
alone.
just boycotted it over the fact that one of the characters was called SA5M, but you pronounce it Sam because apparently the 5 is silent. I'm like, which parent was that bloody
That's
drunk
Vanessa Hudgens.
at the bloody, birth certificate stage? Is like, call him SA5M. It's a number plate. Yeah.
But I like music movies anyway. And it's like, it gave me like camp rock vibes too. So it's like,
I also
yeah.
got very confused because it said that one of the people was playing Ben Wheatley, and I'm like, wait, what? One of the characters is Ben Wheatley? My God. My God, that's Jason Bourne.
Okay. This next movie is going to be interesting to talk about because, like The Hurt Locker, it's like we want to talk about the award season at the end of this series. But this is a movie that's really hard to talk about without bringing up award season. So, should we just go with it?
Might as well.
Sure, we can leave it for discussing it later on.
It's District 9.
Ah,
Good
yes.
old Neil Blomkamp.
So here's the thing. We know where District 9 is now with Retrospect.
Sure.
I feel like it can't be understated. Now, I mean, we've talked about already that we weren't as into award season. We weren't as like deep into the workings of award season in 2009 as we are now. So maybe there were rumblings that we didn't hear. But as far as I remember, when District 9 came out, it was just another sci-fi movie, like a sci-fi action movie. People liked it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But you would have been absolutely insane to say that's getting nominated for Best Picture when it came out.
I didn't think it had the possibility of getting a Best Picture recognition, but certainly from what I saw from the trailers from it and everything, I felt like I was getting, what was it, Monsters vibes?
That's the verses that we did.
Because Monsters obviously had...
Monsters
had a lot of crazy shit done on somebody's Windows Vista or whatever PC. So it was done for very little budget, and considering like some of the actual work that's done in this, the fact that it's only a $30 million budget, you can... I feel Blomkamp never was able to reach the same impact that this had when they gave him more money. Because what, Elysium, I think, was over 100 million. Chappie probably was in and around the same ballpark. Let me have a quick check. Oh no, Chappie was sort of in the middle, which I guess makes sense because Chappie feels a lot more like District 9 than Elysium does feel like it's a more big budget style presentation. I mean, probably what helps with District 9 is the sort of how it feels like it's a documentary style, taking a bit to some extent of the shaky camera, Paul Greengrass and whatever, but also to some extent because it sort of starts off like mockumentary, and then I think it's one or not mockumentary, but you know, that sort of style. But then when Chowto gets, you know, turned, I guess if that's what you want to call it, it sort of takes a different aspect. In that sense, it's also very similar to, what was it? Colin, I think it was? The zombie film, basically, that just followed you the sort of life of a zombie. But then at the same time sort of revealed how he became a zombie, but...
Were you maybe thinking that the first act almost feels like found footage in a way?
It certainly felt like that. Which I think worked as well. Considering how it's obviously supposed to be an alternate 80s and whatever, it kind of... However, that's depressing about how at least mainstream media depicted South Africa at the time, but... yeah, I just felt it was dealt with, like, really impressively for the budget that it got. I want to say, is this where the small indie sci-fi thing got the recognition for visual effects, beginning with this one to some extent?
Right, could be. You mean like this what is it? This walked so Ex Machina could run, that kind of thing.
To some extent, but like, you know, I'm at because even though I can't remember whether we've already done this in terms of the Oscars stuff when we get round to that, but like the year after you had like your Inceptions and your Harry Potters, but then your Hereafters. Then you've got your, you know, your Hugos, your more Potters, more Transformers, but then kind of, I want to say Real Steel kind of is like, I want to say District 9 was the first one of like the ones that you don't expect to be in visual effects, but is probably getting enough praise for doing what you can with the budget that you've got. Admittedly, 2014 ruined that with Interstellar, Captain America, Dawn of Apes, Guardians, and Days of Future Past. But yeah, I feel like that, along with Monsters, depicted that you didn't have to have a massive, you know, blow it all away money budget to really make effective visuals, or to be honest, an effective sci-fi film, especially, or you know, in that sort of genre, considering what we had for quite a few years before and after it, to be fair. And as I've already said, kind of what happened to Blomkamp afterwards, because I felt he's never able to match it.
Didn't this also did something that's unusual for sci-fi awards wise, and that's it got a screenplay nomination, right? An adapted nomination.
It did.
Which is pretty. I mean, Inception did also, but it's not common at all for beloved sci-fi to get screenplay recognition. So that's like a really big deal.
It even
Also,
says it here on the wiki
I kind of
in
remember.
terms of TriStar, which I guess would be Sony as it is now. At the point, District 9 joined As Good as It Gets, Jerry Maguire, Bugsy, and Places in the Heart as the only times that TriStar / Sony, maybe, got nominated for Best Picture as well. Like,
I also feel like I remember when this movie started coming into the conversation, there was a lot of people pushing for Copley an actor for a long time,
Oh, most definitely.
which would have been not illogical. Because I think the spot that Renner got was open.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
But obviously, we'll have more of that conversation later. But
Yes.
But yeah, I remember liking the movie a lot, but also being surprised by its acclaim at the time, just based on the fact that it was like a sci-fi action movie, and that's how it was marketed. We had like a standee in the lobby. It
Mm-hmm.
just looked like a sci-fi action movie. And yeah, just the whole. It felt like there was not a lot of time between it just being that movie and being a Best Picture nominee, and it was a crazy. Like, it felt like the Oscar buzz happened quite suddenly, if I'm remembering right. But again, we weren't like as deeply in it as we are now, but I feel like even so, it was a very fast rise awards wise. Is that District 9 in a nutshell? Until we get to the awards conversation.
Very much enjoyed it, and we'll talk more about it later on.
Obviously, I didn't care much for the projectile vomiting of the black stuff, but it comes with the territory.
Sure.
Speaking of, this movie has a vomit scene in it as well that I have never forgotten. And I have a particular story about this one that I've actually talked about with Owen relatively recently. And it's not a positive one.
Nope.
This is the goods, live hard, sell hard. Last video, we were trying to remember why Ken Jeong and Jeremy Piven were at a wrestling event together. It was this movie.
Yeah, we're on Raw because of this. Yes.
So here's the thing. As far as I remember, I didn't loathe this. There were things about it that I loathed, like a Will Ferrell cameo, everything Ed Helms was doing. But it was just another, like, Apatow-style comedy that was coming and going. What I remember about this movie, most vividly, is we talked about how we were seeing things more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we were killing time for another movie. Sometimes we were giving something another try. Sometimes we liked a movie that much. Obviously there's a movie in a little bit we're going to talk about that we saw many, many times.
Yes.
But for some reason, we were there. I don't know if we were waiting. I'm pretty sure we were waiting for another Bastards to start, because the goods had already been out for a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
So we were probably going to see Bastards again.
Yeah.
And the plan was to kill time. We'll just go to the goods again. So we walked across the parking lot. We got some food. We walked back across the parking lot. We walked into the theater. We walked down the hallway. The auditorium door was right there.
Yep.
And I stopped you. And this has been building in my head the whole walk back. I stopped you just before we went into the auditorium. And I said, I cannot see this movie again. It was a strong feeling. It was like, I don't want to see a single frame of this movie right now. And it's like, it's not a movie that I hated. I don't think. I wasn't crazy about it. but we were just gonna kill time with it, and it was harmless enough that we could kill time with it. But just something came over me, and it's like, whoa, I will be physically sick if I see any of this movie again. And I haven't seen it since. I haven't seen a clip, a frame, or anything of this movie since then. Since the first time we saw it. I still remember Ken Jeong puking in slow-mo. And that stupid Will Ferrell cameo. And some of the stupid shit Ed Helms was doing. But I wanted nothing to do with this. I wanted to get as far away from that door. We got all the way up to the door of the theater itself. Like, on the other side of this door was the seats and the screen. We got that far. And I was like, I can't. I'm not gonna watch this movie again. I still don't know why that feeling was so strong. But, yeah, I have not seen the movie since. So... Owen, do you remember anything?
We don't really get to talk about the movie very often. I know there's verses that exist, thankfully. There was a little film that came out many years ago called PCU, and that's where Jeremy Piven came into my field of vision for the first time. I felt when I saw he was doing another movie, because obviously he was an old school, things like that. That reconnected him in my mind. I was like, this looks interesting. I like the concept. This is the type of movie I feel like I'm gonna dig. If I remember correctly, I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, but I didn't hate it. It forced me to sit through Ken Jeong on Raw, which sucked. But I got to see Jeremy Piven on Raw. That was interesting. Very, very interesting.
What I kind of find semi-fascinating as well is when it came out as a rental, they literally just put it out as that. They didn't bother putting any extras, not even like the trailer for the thing, as they usually do on the rental. I think they eventually did when it came out as a retail release, but even the rental, they're like, yeah, nobody gives a crap.
No. It didn't do very well box office wise. Like, it didn't do well at my theater. I mean, it made its budget back, but barely.
Yeah, I remember it being something that was pretty heavily marketed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then disappeared really fast.
Oh yeah.
I guess like a lot of like comedies like this did at the time.
Mm-hmm.
People are wondering where the mid-budget comedy went. Was it in this era we were seeing like the last breaths of it?
Yeah.
As far as being like a big mainstream thing that we saw all the time. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but okay. This one I vaguely remember. Grace with Jordan Ladd. I think it's another Demon Baby movie.
Don't have any recollection of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I have a very, very vague memory of it. I also know, I think Adam Green was a producer, because when he did Scary Sleepover, it was one of the posters on his wall. And it was all stuff he like had to do with. So it's like, oh shit, I remember seeing that in 2009. But I don't remember any details or anything. I remember it existing. And I think I remember thinking for yet another Demon Baby movie, it's relatively fine if that's what you're looking for. If like the Demon Baby is a great subgenre for you, it's a fine entry, I think. I don't remember having any problems with it. That's all I got. Is that it?
Yeah, move on.
All right. Okay, another documentary. I don't have much to say. You probably don't either. It might get loud.
Oh, okay.
This is one with Jimmy Page and Jack White and The Edge.
Yeah.
These music documentaries, the only thing I can say is I sometimes get this one's title confused with Shut Up and Play the Hits, which is the LCD Sound System documentary.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I have to sort these out in my head, which is which, but I remember it Shut Up and Play the Hits more, but again, with documentaries with us, would just kind of come and go. It was more of the working on the checklist thing than something we were seeking out at the time.
Yeah.
Which is not really how you want to approach documentary. You want to when you're approaching a documentary, you want to look for something that you're like fully invested in. And with, like I said, documentaries this whole year were mostly just a checklist, so there hasn't been much to say. Do you remember much, Owen?
I remember liking anything music related, especially in a documentary, something I gravitate towards.
Yeah. Is that it?
Oh yeah.
All right. The next one is Ponyo. I cannot remember which one we saw, if it was the dubbed one or the real one.
We 1,000,000% saw the dub.
Okay, that sounds right. I know people love this one.
Yes.
I do think, and surely this isn't controversial to say, as far as Miyazaki movies go, I don't think it's the top tier.
It's definitely low on the totem pole when it comes to the filmography, that's for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those, Miyazaki's one of those people where it's like him at his worst is better than most things.
I want to say,
right.
Of their kind.
I'm trying to remember how much of Miyazaki's stuff was adapted. Because I think Ponyo wasn't. Ponyo was original, but like, if you look at quite a lot of the other things, I think a fair few of them were adapted. Because Howl's Moving Castle was adapted. Cat Returns was adapted. I think Spirited... It might have had the hype because it was the first original one from Miyazaki since Spirited Away, and obviously, you know, that's its own thing. But, like, afterwards, I think Wind Rises was adapted, Arrietty was adapted, Tale of Princess Kaguya, I think, was? Or, you know, it's based on, you know, a literary tale from, like, ancient Japan, so... Yeah, like... the only, I think, reason it has the appeal that it does is because of the big name voices that you got, which I feel sort of only cropped up. I don't remember this many big name voices being Howl's Moving Castle, given Ponyo gave us Tina Fey and Matt Damon and Kate Blanchett and Liam Neeson and Betty White and Lily Tomlin and one of the Jonas Brothers. I can't remember which one.
If there's a lot of characters, the English casts are usually pretty stacked.
Yeah. But off the top of my head, at least for Howl's Moving Castle, I only remember Bale. Off the top of my head. Oh, I take it back. Dear Lord. Gene Simmons, Emily Mortimer, Lauren... Yeah. I'm wrong. Shoot me. Then again, I'm in the day and age now where I prefer to watch the subbed ones rather than the dubbed ones. But I guess it's good, at least in that aspect, that the dubs still connect with people. The dub. But either way, yeah, I don't, as I say, it's not one of Miyazaki's strongest, but it's still
As I say,
a really, it's still enjoyable.
but it's still a real.
Uh-oh. Did I lose internet? Oh,
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm just being paranoid with my net being the way it has been today, but there we go.
Yeah, things were getting a little fucky there for a second. I was gonna bring up as far as dubbing goes. I'd be as far as the English version, but everything else, I would typically take the original version. Do we move on?
Yep.
I just saw something about this movie that caught me by surprise, and I looked up to make sure I was not hallucinating. The next movie, the first thing that caught my attention just now was that David Mackenzie.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, this was.
Directed
I want to say this was Mackenzie's first American movie. Because certainly young Adam and Hallam Foe were very British.
The only thing I remember is this movie really skeeved me out. It's like really fucking sleazy, and I did not like it at all. It's Ashton Kutcher fucking people by a pool, and that's my takeaway.
I remember nothing about this movie.
Yeah, I needed a scalding hot shower after this movie. It was very. And I'm all about a sex-driven movie. Don't get me wrong. But I don't. This movie just like grossed me out. I don't know. and I'm shocked to realize that David Mackenzie directed it. I'm literally like learning this right now. I never would have put that together. So I'm glad he's decided to be the gritty crime guy instead of the crimes
Coming
of this
from
movie.
the guy that somehow got an Academy Award nomination for American Sniper. And relating back to Blomkamp, wrote the script to Gran Turismo as well. Or co-wrote, I should say.
Obviously, I haven't talked about it yet, but I did get a chance to watch his 2026 movie. It was the Secret movie at Cinemark months ago.
Is that it for spread? Please.
Yep.
Owen?
Okay.
This is in the G.I. Joe camp, where I know when I saw this, but I don't remember you seeing it.
Okay.
The Time Traveler's Wife?
All the one that I kept calling the astronaut farmer?
No.
Yeah.
The
No. Now we're back.
Yeah, I don't have much of a memory of this one. Just that I saw it at a particular. Eric Bana and Rachel McAdams were there. He was time traveling. I think it became a series or like a mini series, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is 1,000,000% a. This was I know when I watched this.
I mean, I feel like this was this fell into with a lot of things because I want to say this was a few years after the Lake House, right? I think that was 06 ish. I just found it weird that we've got all these romance things to do with time travel. Like, way too many of them. Like, it seemed incompetent for people to do just a straight-out romantic film. So, they had to do, oh, well, let's do romantic sci-fi, like... Which I kind of didn't really get. In all honesty.
Alright, I'm doing a lot of freezing up on my end. I hope that fixes itself because we are at the place we've been trying to get to.
Yes.
So Owen, this is Basterds conversation.
Okay.
So I remember the anticipation.
Oh my god, yes.
I have a specific memory of one of the times we saw Watchmen.
Yes.
And Watchmen had this trailer on it.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer that plays the piece that's called Eradicate the Masses. It's an awesome trailer. It's got a lot of clips in it that are not in the movie.
Yep.
And I turned to you once and I made the Jay and Silent Bob reference and I said, dude, I think I just filled the cup.
Yes, you did.
And a lot of people were put off because this trailer makes it look like a full-blown action movie.
Yes.
Because it basically put all the violent parts of the movie in a two-minute trailer.
Mm-hmm.
We still here?
They tried to cram all the action scenes into the trailer. That's what you mean to say.
Yeah, and they used a lot of clips that aren't even in the movie to do so.
Certainly.
Like Sam Levine running down all the machine gun.
Yes.
Yes. Or Waltz saluting the Nazis as they're pulling into the premiere. The really great shot. But I remember that even as a diehard Tarantino fan, the movie wasn't what I thought it was going to be at first, and I had to adjust to that. This is a 2.5 hour movie that's about 8 scenes long, more or less.
Yeah.
Which is great. Which is great when you know that's what it is. A lot of people didn't know that's what it was. And this was our go-to movie. We saw this as many times as we could. We treated it like we treated The Dark Knight when it came out. We would just go in whenever.
Yeah, because we could always pick it up when it were.
Yeah, and it was so long. It's like no matter where we walk in, we're gonna have a good chunk left.
Exactly.
And my most memorable viewing of this actually was because once you see this is one of those movies where when you see it enough times, you see all the stuff that makes it so rich as it goes, all like the finite details and all that, and the little character details. So my favorite time I ever saw this movie was when I finally saw it with my brother and his ex-wife. It was the last night it was at our theater.
Oh, yeah.
It was the very last night we had it. We were in the smallest auditorium, which is a tiny box. and it was full. That small theater was packed, and everybody was completely into it. And that's, of all the times we saw it in the theater, that's the one that stands out to me the most. Was being in the smallest theater, but it was packed. It's like, that was basically every time we went to Django.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, as successful as Django was, it was always in the two smallest theaters at the end of the hallway. And that's where it stayed. But because of that, every showing was full. And that's... I almost feel like that's the ideal way. And like I said, I knew the movie front to back by that point. So I knew every single moment everybody was going to react to.
Yes.
It was like, I felt like I was the only one who had seen it, and I was showing it to a group of like 50 people that I knew. And it was fantastic. My brother to this day considers it one of his top 5 movies of all time. And I got to watch him see it for the first time and fall in love with it.
That's great.
That was beautiful. Yeah, and we were like quoting it constantly. We made Hugo Stiglitz an in-joke.
Hugo Stiglitz was the greatest man that ever lived at one point.
And we just in its theater run, we got to know that movie as well as if we'd watched it on DVD 100 times.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw it, I didn't know if that's how I was gonna feel. Because I do remember I was still in that situation, so that's who I saw it with first. So I hadn't slept the night before. And I just like wasn't quite sure how to take it. But once it settled in, like after the first viewing on the ride back, my first thought was, oh my god, that was like 8 scenes. That was like very few scenes made a big epic movie. And when that said it, I was like, I've got to see this again right now. There was already talk of Waltz at the Oscars. That started at Cannes.
Yeah.
And so immediately you go in and it's like everybody has already told you to pay attention to that guy.
And I'll say this on the live when we're talking about the award season, but Waltz never lost. There was never a time that he lost anything. He beat the Best Actor nominees. I remember that.
Our joke at the time was the only award he ended up losing was Best Villain at the MTV Movie Awards, and he lost it to Tom Felton.
That is exactly right.
But, yeah, it was a sweep, and we all knew why.
Oh my god, yes. And that's the reason why it's like, when you see Christoph Waltz get nominated, you know he's going to win. So they can't nominate him anymore unless they want to guarantee a win.
I remember because Woody Harrelson was up against him for The Messenger.
Yes, and I love The Messenger.
Woody Harrelson was asked on a talk show, what do you think your odds are of winning?
I remember this.
And he said, like, I think I've got about a 0.01% chance.
You remember about the first time I watched it, don't you?
I've never completely believed you, and you know this.
I don't really care because I can vouch for the fact that it happened.
Go ahead.
So, I remember when this movie was going to come out. Out of nowhere, I got sick. And we couldn't go right away. So, I was like, I don't want to wait. So, I would peruse the illegal download sites, of course, like we did back in the day, like everybody did back in the day. Admit it or not, you did. Anyway,
that's gonna come up again in a movie we've got in this month.
I'm not surprised. So I couldn't go out to watch it theatrically like I wanted to at the time that I wanted to watch it. So I had found a really, really crappy cam copy in another language with subtitles. Luckily, I could decipher. And I sat on my mom's white couch, which, of course, if you've watched the channel for as long as people like Josie and Brian, Spencer, everybody has, you would know that that is the location that we used to do reviews before we moved into my TV room. And then, of course, I moved here. But yeah, or the downstairs times when we had like thunderstorms and everything, and we did weird videos downstairs in a little office. But yeah, that couch from the Iron Man video that started AJ's movie reviews officially on this channel, I sat on that couch and I watched on my mother's laptop Inglourious Basterds for the first time. Which, yes, as always, since we do this on the regular, and you've been following along for any of the 2009 videos, you would know this is the first time that the title of the movie has been mentioned in this entire time we've been talking. But I thought it didn't really need to be mentioned because obviously this is the movie we've been building towards all this entire run anyway, especially this month. But I watched it, and then I remember, I don't know, it was like 2 days later or something like that. I was okay, and then I would like call Jake, let's go, let's do this. And then became the run of theatrical viewings that AJ said, and 100% I do remember very distinctly. Just let's walk in. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter when it is.
I always
are. Chances are, like AJ said, we're gonna get a good chunk of movie, and we always did.
We love all the scenes, but I always hoped it was going to be the tavern scene when we walked in.
Oh my God, yes.
Never do that.
And it was great because we would sit. The theater would be packed, so we would just go sit in like the back, and we just observe.
We weren't disruptive when we came in. Let's make that clear.
No. God no. It was always fun watching new people that may or may not have seen it before, like getting fresh eyes on it. Like you were getting fresh eyes on it yourself because you were living vicariously through them. This was not a morning movie, and it never would have been. But I watched it a billion times with you, and that's all that mattered. And actually, a few times, I remember correctly, I might have watched it a time or two by myself.
Yeah, just to give people the visual, this was before we had stadium seating.
Oh my God!
So
yes.
So the doors were in the back, and then just the rows were right there. So you could literally come in and sit in the back, and nobody would know you were there.
Bingo! Did it all the time.
So nobody had to worry about like, who the fuck are these guys coming in midway through?
No, they were too enthralled with what was going on the screen.
Yeah. So is that the Bastards conversation until we get to award season?
That is until we get to award season. That's correct.
All right. Also, people were pretty irate when they went in expecting a Brad Pitt war movie and they got a Christoph Waltz movie.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know where Brad Pitt is, but I still kind of dig this. There is a lot of Pitt too. He's just mostly third act, but
still quote his dialogue to this day. Exactly.
All right. The next movie is a movie we didn't see at the time. It's the Mark Pease Experience. I have like a DVD of that I found for like $2 at a Big Lots or something. But it was like after this, so it's irrelevant. So the next thing is my one and only. I remember this being the Renee Zellweger Logan Lerman movie. I think he's her son, and they're like going around, and she finds love or something.
Yes.
That's all I remember.
You remember? I do.
I think I remember it's like, oh, this is nice, and then I immediately forgot it, and I haven't thought of it since 2009. I had to sit here for a second and remember which one it was, but it's like, oh yeah, I remember that one. I think pleasant.
I'm reading all these and I'm watching as we're moving on through it. I'm sure we're not done yet. I guarantee we're not. I'm not even going to look to see and spoil myself on this one. I feel like David Koechner was in damn near everything in 2009.
He had an era. He definitely had an era.
Definitely seems like it because my God, I feel like I'm seeing his name on the cast list of nearly anything we're discussing right now, including this movie. That's why I brought it up randomly.
But yeah, that's all I remember is it's like pleasant, but yeah, Kevin Bacon was in there. I vaguely remember that. Chris Noth and Troy Garrity. I don't remember them in it, but
apparently.
But yeah, I remember it being like pleasant, and then we moved on, and it just kind of never came up again.
That sounds about right.
Kind of the same thing for this one, except we saw this one at the next one was Post Grad.
Oh, okay.
The Alexis Bledel movie. I remember one scene in this movie. That's all I remember. And we quoted it so many times, I imagine it'll come back to you when I say it.
Oh my God, okay. Which one is it?
It's a horrific situation that Michael Keaton managed to make funny. Because Michael Keaton plays her dad in it. Because this was the era where Michael Keaton just exclusively played dads for a while.
It was Michael Keaton and Lynch as the parents.
The only scene I remember from this movie is they are at somebody's house and Keaton accidentally runs their cat over. And Keaton says that they need to tell these people what has happened, but they need to do it very sensitively, very calmly.
Oh no.
They need to comfort these people. This is something very sad. We need to just do this very carefully. And then there's an abrupt cut, and the people open the door, and Keaton's standing there and just says, "Yeah, your cat's dead." That's the only scene I remember. I don't even remember what the context was. There was a context of them being at this house in the first place. Like, I feel like it was very important. These people were very important in some way, and he fucked it up by running their cat over. I think. I honestly don't remember what the plot of the movie was.
Mm-mm.
I only remember this scene. Because of Keaton's delivery right there. Does anything else come back to you?
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the cast. And I was like, another person that I felt like it was in damn near everything was another person that I ended up getting to check off the list last year, and that's Craig Robinson.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons.
You would think there's a lot of movies we watched online, and that made it really easy for those movies to come and go.
Sure.
But when you see something in the theater, usually it sticks in some way. As a lot of these have. Something like Bandslam. If we hadn't seen Bandslam in the theater, there's no way I wouldn't have remembered the fucking Dewey thing if we had watched that online or something.
My mom, you remember that.
But it's weird how sometimes there are movies where you can sit in a dark room, watch the entire thing uninterrupted on a very big screen, and somehow like 10 seconds of the movie sticks. Usually something. There is another movie, I can't remember if it was this year or the following year. Not Easily Broken, the Morris Chestnut movie that seemed like a Tyler Perry movie but wasn't.
Not easily watchable.
Yeah, it's like, that's a movie where it's like, why do I remember that movie so vividly? And it's like, because we saw it at the theater. But then there's movies like Postgrad that are, I remember not having anything against Postgrad. It was just another harmless movie that came and went.
Yep.
But still, it's crazy that your cat's dead is the only thing I remember of the whole thing. Everything else is gone. I don't know. But and you say you don't remember anything either.
Nope.
And Alexis Bledel is very charming.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think a movie starring her would stick. But the only thing I remember is Keaton saying that one thing. So, is that Postgrad?
Yep.
All right, Owen. We were talking about how it was about to come up again that sometimes we would watch movies by shady means.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this what I think it is?
There's a reason that's important for this movie.
God dang it. I know exactly what we're about to talk about. We're about to talk about Robert
It's time
Rodriguez,
for
aren't
Spy
we?
Kids 4.
Oh,
So,
my God.
as Owen has alluded to, Robert Rodriguez.
Yup.
Robert Rodriguez had a movie in 2009 called Shorts. This was him, and he was still doing his troublemaker thing. He was he was going back and forth between his violent movies and his kids movies.
Correct.
And this was one of the kids movies. It's somewhat of an anthology movie, kind of, right? Hence the title.
Sure.
Yeah.
I remember Spader's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
But
At Dennings.
However, there is only one thing ever. I think this happening, and again, it's probably a you had to be there thing.
No, it's definitely not.
But then this very small event that lasted all of 2 seconds.
Yes.
Completely overtook this movie to us.
That is absolutely correct.
This is the only thing we've ever associated this movie with. When I said, I think Spader's in this, that's otherwise the only thing I remember, and I think it's because this fucking thing happened. Do you want to tell? I've got kind of more of a, since my camera's on, I've got more of the visual I can kind of give.
Please.
But, did you want to say anything?
Well,
because it happened to you.
Oh, yeah, it definitely happened to me, but I don't remember the context, and I don't remember the reason why it happened, but it did. If I don't remember the reason why, like the verbiage of why it happened, I do remember its existence. I know its existence to this day. I don't remember what legitimately caused it. But okay, I have told a story on here before, talking about when I started with Regal, there was a Monsters Inc. was getting ready to leave theaters, and I remember seeing Monsters Inc. one night, and I sat on the back of the seat, and somebody got me to laugh so much that I literally backflipped into the seat, and I landed up upside down. So I've told that story before. So me laughing could potentially cause humorous physical pain. I feel like my Robin Quivers impersonation may be because this happened and it caused this to happen. So yes, AJ, you can tell the story about what happened when I took a bump in my trailer.
Well, here's the thing. There was no indication.
No,
You would think this was something that was building to over time,
no,
but there was no indication this was ever going to happen.
no, not at all. Not one bit.
We were watching shorts online.
Yes.
So I was on your couch, you were in your computer chair, and we're watching shorts on your computer.
Correct.
I don't think we were laughing at the movie.
No, I'm sure it wasn't.
Because we would remember. I think even with what happened, we would remember. And again, this is a lot of build-up. You're gonna be underwhelmed. You probably had to be there to see this for yourself.
Funny is, oh my, I don't care. It's so hilarious.
Yeah, you're gonna be underwhelmed. Prepare for that. There is no, by all accounts, this chair is perfectly intact.
It is. I have no way of knowing what may or may not be about to happen to me.
It's a perfectly intact chair.
Perfectly good chair.
Doesn't seem like a cheap chair or anything like that.
My computer, no, my mom always bought quality, so my stuff was never cheap.
So, I was just gonna bring up, like, I'm sure she loved you were watching Bastards like that on her computer. I'm sure she loved that.
I'm sure she did too.
So, we were laughing about something. Probably something between us because Shorts wasn't holding our attention.
Certainly.
And you are laughing quite loudly.
Yes, like I do.
And as you were laughing, the chair broke right at the halfway mark. And in 1 second, in a fraction of a second, Owen was at a right angle, and then he was completely flat.
Yep.
And the chair was completely broken in half.
Yeah, it did.
To the point that it became a stool for several years afterwards.
That is correct.
And it forever became known as the Shorts chair.
Yes, it was. 100% correct.
And the running joke simply became that is the only thing we ever associated Shorts with.
Yep.
I don't remember anything that happened in that movie except that Spader was there. He might have been a principal.
Okay.
And he was kind of over the top. And this is another. Spader was also kind of in an off period, like Keaton was. So, yeah, you're probably underwhelmed because you weren't there to see in person Owen go from a right angle to flat in a fraction of a second while he's in the middle of laughing very loudly. But that was the Shorts experience. Owen,
Yes.
anything to add from your own perspective of
I
this
feel-
happening to you?
I feel like the rednecks that are asked what the tornado sounds like. All I know is that I'm laughing. Again, the Robin Quivers thing. Very loudly because it was my place and I do what I want. And the next thing you know, I laugh so loud I lift up in the air, and then I ain't lifted anymore.
I imagine from your point of view, it was shorts, ceiling.
Yep.
Was that the chain of events?
Shorts, elevation, ceiling, ground. Continue to laugh hysterically. My chair is broken. Damn, that's not good. I can't fix this. Let's make
There
it.
was no, because you would think when I say there was no indication,
There was nothing.
you would think the chair would have been making noise over time, saying, "I'm giving out." You would think it would have been like, "Oh man, I feel like this chair's on its last legs" or something. There would have been a clue this was about to happen.
But to be fair, I did not. Obviously, you can't see me on camera right now because my phone's going to die. Because that's what happens when you do a show like right after you worked all day. But the thing about it is, I would, if you could see me right now, you would definitely know. And if you've seen me before, then you already know. I lost a little bit of weight between now and when I watched, to say the least. So yeah, me now, that probably would not have happened. And I'm never going to get to tell this story again, so I might as well tell it now. You talk about things happening with no warning. This is a deviation, but I don't care, but I'm never going to be able to tell this story again. I'm hungry. I'm the one prolonging the show this time. I played mini golf here at Universal with friends of mine. And there was one. So you know how you don't. Sometimes you don't realize you're about to fall until it's late. Okay, so if you've played mini golf anywhere in the world, you would know that there's levels, literally levels to this stuff. You have to walk downstairs to get from one part of the hole to the actual hole itself. Right. And I'll never forget this because this is always something that comes up, and it's like it's a conversation from many, many years ago when I first moved here. Actually, it was not when I moved. Well, yeah, I was actually not even moved here yet. I was still toiling away in West Virginia before I finally was here. We were playing mini golf, and one day, all of a sudden, like, I'm standing on the top of the stairs, and apparently, from what my friends have told me, in silence, there was no sound. I didn't yelp. I didn't scream. I didn't do anything. I went from the top of the stairs to the ground underneath the stairs. And it was like, apparently, it was seen out of the corner of their eye that all of a sudden it was like everybody's laughing, having a great time. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, in silence, I go vertical and fall down the stairs. So yes, things can happen in an instant that you don't realize you're about to happen.
I assume you probably looked like you were in Home Alone or something.
Oh yeah, it's like when I got hit by a car when I was running. Okay, and the first thing I said was, "Hey," I cursed at the guy. Obviously, didn't Danhausen curse him or anything like that, but I mean, I might as well have. I basically just got mad at him for messing up my time because he hit me with his car.
I remember this story vividly.
So does my mom, and my mom was very upset when I said, "You got hit by a car?" I was like, "Yeah, it was a stalling stop, but it still happened. Still knocked my stuff out of my hands."
Well, we can transition from this to talk about two movies that I love, and then I've got a sad story, and then we'll almost be done.
Yay! I need food badly.
So it's interesting that these two movies are together on the list because I don't think I knew that. Because when these movies both came out on DVD, I got them and I often showed them to people
Together?
nearly together. Like these movies are always paired together in my mind, so I didn't even know they like came out at the same time too. Do you want to just group them together?
That helps the conversation, certainly.
It's World's Greatest Dad and it's Big Fan.
Oh my god!
I love both of these movies.
Well,
And yeah, for some reason, I got them both on DVD around the same time, so I always watched them kind of together. And I watched them a lot.
so you talk about loving these movies. These are two movies that I had to introduce people to personally. I remember telling my regulars about both of these.
We were talking about this with Paper Heart and the fact that this isn't really a thing for you. You also have a copy of Big Fan, don't you?
I 1,000,000% probably a big fan, but I was a big patent mark, and I still am, and I'm very happy that I got to check him off the list since he doesn't like Florida. That's probably gonna be my last forever.
And to start with World's Greatest Dad, this was one where it was like It was one that was on our radar because it was on the list, and we knew it was a Robin Williams movie. And this was at a point where Robin Williams weren't great. He was at a pretty big stall in his career at this point, if I remember correctly.
This for me was about Bobcat.
Yeah.
For me, it was about Bobcat. Another person I've yet to check off the bucket list.
But even then, it's like we know with Bobcat we're probably getting a weird movie.
For sure. Yeah, definition.
And we know he and Robin Williams were like best friends, so
Correct.
maybe Robin Williams was just doing it for him as a favor or something.
Ooh.
And again,
And
timing was a bit interesting, considering the plot point of that film became very notorious. What, 2-3 months before, because of David Carradine's death.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So weirdly, it seems like
I remember that
some
being
people
like
I think saw it as like jumping on the bandwagon, but this was in production before that happened. So.
And the thing about it is, even though it's a movie written and directed by Bobcat Goldthwait, it sets itself up because we're going in a lot of these movies that like weren't mainstream when they came out. We were going in completely blind. And I think a lot of people that go into this movie are still going in completely blind.
Oh my god, I don't know any people that have watched the movie that knew what they were getting themselves into.
Yeah, there is nothing about this movie that advertises itself as to what it actually is.
No.
I think it's more. I had a conversation once where I was saying like, it looks like a Robin Williams Hates His Life movie. Every time I think of what you could compare this movie to, my mind goes to Heathers.
That is a very good comparison, actually.
Because it's about people who should not be worshipped in a high school setting being worshipped after death because of something somebody else is writing.
True.
And shaping into their own narrative. And it becomes this whole take on how we view people after death. And there's also the dark storyline that this happens to be Robin Williams' kid who has died in this very dark way. And the thing about it is, being a Bobcat movie, they set up the whole thing as darkly comedic. But when the death actually happens, it is a full-on emotional drama moment.
For sure.
And there's Bobcat talks on the commentary about the scene where Robin Williams finds him and breaks down crying.
Yeah.
He was able to do that take over and over again as we see it. And it is a full-on dramatic breakdown. And that it has that in it. That it has that genuine, like, sadness and drama in it. And then we'll turn around and then just do something really darkly fucked up to the point that it's kind of hilarious. And be able to go back and forth with that. It's a wild movie. But I love the way it approaches everything it's going for. I feel like it completely succeeds with exactly what it was supposed to be. And it seems like it would be, but he got it like exactly right, which is crazy. And it's got a great, not like closing line, but it's the closing line of his narration when he says, I might be paraphrasing, but it's like, the worst thing in life isn't ending up alone, it's ending up with people that make you feel alone. And then that's when you get the famous scene where he jumps in the and yeah, this movie tends to blindside people when they think it's a Robin Williams Hates His Life comedy. And we certainly didn't know this was the direction it was going.
No.
And I think I remember the first time he finds Daryl Sabara dead. I thought it was a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no way this is the path they're going. There's no way this is the direction this movie. And then when he hides his son's shame by hanging him in the closet, and then writes a suicide note for him, and finally becomes a popular writer he's always wanted to be through that, it's like, holy fuck. Wow, this is not the movie you think it is. And I love that for it. So yeah, I love, and it's probably, and this bar is high, it's one of his best performances.
Oh, easily, without question.
Yeah. So, do you have anything to add on it before we go into Big Fan?
It was great to be proven way wrong about the concept. And then when you actually see what it's truly about, it's like, it's such a culture shock that it still sticks with you. And it's something that I feel like many Robin Williams fans probably don't even have any knowledge of.
I feel like it's been found over time, but it took a while. Because again, it has been almost 20 years. I do. I don't know how I want to approach bringing this up, but I do know it also got some traction from the people that knew shortly after his real death. What it is he stages in this movie is eerie.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that as well.
Yeah, so there's that connection, and there's the David Carradine connection that had just happened in the same year. It's eerie. But I don't think that takes away from the movie itself.
No.
So, and I mean, I'd say, seek it out if you haven't. We basically just, everything we said's basically the whole movie.
Mhm.
But like A Perfect Getaway, it's like, even so, it's very much worth seeing, even if you know what it is still. But yeah, maybe actually some people might like it better if they know what they're getting, because it can, especially if you're in like maybe a certain state of mind or something. This is a movie that can very much catch you off guard.
Yeah. God Bless America is the same way too.
Oh my god, yeah. I also, it just happens to be sitting here because I actually just got it recently. Another movie of his I talked about a lot, I loved that did, was his found footage horror movie Willow Creek.
Creek, yes.
I was thrifting and just found a copy of it like very recently, and I was very happy to. It cost me a little bit, but I got it.
Bobcat's worth the money.
Yeah.
And he's touring again, so it tells me it's possible that I could finally check that box I've been trying to check since the 80s.
And speaking of comedians you've seen in person, and speaking of comedians giving incredible lead performances in unexpected movies.
I think this was, honestly, this performance, if I remember, if we would have done like our like personal lineups, it would have been really hard to top his best actor performance if it would be me making the lineups.
What's interesting, and I cannot even explain why. We're on Big Fan now, right?
Yes, we are.
This movie came out in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little movie with Patton Oswalt about a very overzealous sports fan who is coming to a mental break after a player he kind of ends up, you have to see the events play out, but essentially he accidentally ends up stalking one of his favorite players.
Correct.
And when this player catches him, he beats the shit out of him and gives him brain damage. and the rest of the movie is basically him crumbling after to a breaking point. And this is a movie that still in 2026 pops into my head a lot.
Interesting.
Like certain scenes, the whole sequence at the end when he goes to he drives all the way from Staten Island to Philadelphia to confront Michael Rappaport because they are rivals on a radio show.
Yes.
And Rappaport does not know who he is. And the way this sequence plays out is like a masterful scene out of a thriller.
Oh my God, yeah. Especially when
Because he knows what he's there for. We know he has a gun with him. There's a very quick shot that shows us he has a gun with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes his sports fandom very seriously.
Yes.
And he like puts on makeup and a jersey for the Eagles, a team he despises at his core, to go undercover to confront Michael Rappaport. And he knows who Rappaport is. Rappaport does not know who he is.
Correct.
But they know they hate each other on the radio. And like I said, the tension in this scene is masterfully done. And it's worth noting the writer and director is Robert Siegel, who just the previous year had written The Wrestler.
Yes.
And yeah, the whole sequence at the beginning too, where he's he just kind of he wants to meet the player. And he's like, I'm curious, let's just see where he's going. And they end up following him into the city and hanging out at a strip club he's at. And like I said, he basically accidentally stalks him. And that sequence is riveting. And like I said, this whole middle sequence where we see him crumbling and his mind going. And it's like, this movie has stuck with me so much, and I've revisited it so many times over the years. It's really short, so it's easy to revisit a lot. But it's, yeah, shout out to Kevin Corrigan too, who plays his friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a movie I always recommend when it comes up, which it doesn't come up. You kind of have to bring it up. But yeah, and this is the movie that showed like Patton Oswalt's like more than a comedian.
Oh, for sure.
So like it's got funny moments throughout the movie, but more often than not, it feels like a drama that's really, really walking the thriller. And it's like the way it approaches suspense is like very much my thing. Like the kind of thing I look for in movies like this. The kind of stuff that inspires my own writing are like scenes that are from this movie. I have written at least a couple of scenes inspired by the scene where he accidentally follows the player around. And that's, yeah. So, anything for you, Owen? Being the Patton Oswalt fan that you were before this even happened?
Dude, I was a serious Patton mark, and still am to this day. Like I said, very glad I got to see him. He's only played this location here in Orlando twice. The first time I couldn't make it work. And the second time I was like, I'm going to move heaven and earth to make sure I'm here for this. Because I know how much, I listen to his bits. I know how it works. He doesn't like Florida very much. For good reason. But I mean, I will say that I'm very glad that I've finally been able to check him off the list. And yeah, me watching Patton stand up is what got me like really excited about this movie. And when it ended up on the 2009 list, I was like, okay, this sounds like something I'm really going to dig. And I did a lot. And again, I would put Patton's performance in 2009 up against most of the best actor performances. And if it didn't win my actor win, in my head right now, what would have? But yeah, fantastic movie. Not enough people have seen.
Yes. Okay, now that I've been happy to talk about those, we're supposed to talk about our personal anecdotes, right?
I revealed a lot
Well-
more series than I counted on doing, and I'm probably not done yet. So yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna be real with you for anybody that's still here or sees this later. I feel I've talked about how there's a lot of sadness in me right now and over the past most of this month. So it's like I really, really thought about it. It's like, is this really a story that I tell right now, especially publicly? Like, is this a story I should ever tell, first of all?
It's fair.
But it's like, this is a story about a person that was the most important person to me at one point that does not matter to me now. But experiences I had with this person have not left me as feelings themselves. I'm long over this person, but damage remains, if that makes sense.
As someone who feels the exact same way, absolutely.
So given what's happening in my life right now, I'm being really careful what I need to go into and what I don't need to go into. I will go to what happened with these two movies we're on now. Because, like we were saying, the whole point of doing this, when we started the series, I wasn't expecting to be where I'm at right now, especially when this story came up. But I feel like I am under control to the point that I can tell this story without, like, some sort of emotional relapse happening. I think I'm okay to tell this story. Our next two movies are The Final Destination, which is Final Destination 4, and Halloween 2. And what the point of this series has been is to talk about anecdotes surrounding when we first saw these movies, when we saw them in 2009, and unfortunately, this is not a good story for me.
It's not.
I don't know how much Owen remembers about this night, but it was a really, really bad night. So you have heard me mention throughout this series that I was having a situation through this year where I was seeing movies with somebody. And it's clear in my tone, I think, that these are not times I look back on fondly. They were fond for me at the time. I realize what they were now, all these years later. So the plan, Final Destination 4 and Halloween 2 are coming out the same night. I want to say these were still midnight shows at the time.
I would say so. I mean, back then, horror movies coming out together was something that happened on the regular, weirdly enough.
So Final Destination 4 is in the second biggest auditorium. Halloween 2 is in the biggest auditorium next door. So
Oh, I forgot.
I am meeting this person for Final Destination.
Yep.
I got stood up. But here's the thing. I got stood up after she showed up. I don't get to... I'm crazy about this person. We make plans when we can. It's a very, very, very big deal to me when we're planning to see a movie together, because that's all we really did for a while. And we get there. We're sitting in Final Destination, waiting for it to start. And it's when we're in there, she decides she wants to see Halloween 2 instead.
Oh.
But instead of saying, come on, let's go to Halloween 2 instead, she decides she's going to meet somebody else in Halloween 2 and leaves me in Final Destination.
Yep.
And is very insistent. Like I say, like, why don't we just go to Halloween if that's what you want to do? But it's like her intent was to leave me behind. So, I know that Owen is in the back of Final Destination. All you saw was us leave. You didn't know what was going on.
I had no idea what was going on at all.
I figured you probably maybe assumed after a while when we didn't come back that we had gone to Halloween 2 instead.
Mm.
So this exchange happened out in the hallway. So she went to Halloween 2, and I went outside. I sat on the front step, and I cried while Final Destination was playing, while I waited for you to come out, and then we left.
Yeah.
So, and the fucked up thing is that about a week later, I did end up seeing Final Destination with her. But it was never... That was a really fucked up thing to do. It was, oh my god, I'm so happy I still got to do this with you. And it's like, I was in a very unhealthy place with somebody I did not know was not a nice person. Everybody, she had her own friends that tried to warn me themselves. Her friends tried to tell me, she's not a nice person. Please don't do this. And it took years for that to set in. Now, with all that said, you might, if you've been around on this channel, know how I feel about Rob Zombie's Halloween. And I would like it to be known, this night has nothing to do with how much I hate that movie. I hate that movie as much as I do completely on its own merit. Trust me. So to shift the conversation here a little bit, I'll just mention briefly that my brother and I talked about Halloween 2 a couple or a few years ago. We did a whole Halloween retrospective, and I talked about the fact, because I've mentioned several times throughout this channel that Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is one of my least favorite movies of all time. I hated it from the second I saw it. I've hated it ever since, and I consider it one of my least favorite movies of all time. I hate everything about it. With that said, a major compliment I felt I was giving it when we talked about it in our retrospective was I did bring myself to rewatch it so that we could talk about it in that video a couple of years ago. And when I rewatched Halloween 2 for the first time since 2009, after that experience with it, because and you and I saw it a little later after that night.
Right.
Somewhere between that night and me seeing Final Destination with her, somewhere in between that, you and I did eventually see Halloween 2.
Correct.
When I rewatched it years and years and years later, without revisiting it, only knowing that I thought it was one of the worst movies I'd ever seen, I was shocked to find that I basically remembered every frame of it. Despite how much I hated it, I remembered everything I saw. Years and years later. So it's like, even though I was always remembering it out of hatred, I feel like there's something of merit that I remembered every scene. something stuck in some way. And I've always said, regardless of how I feel about his filmography, Rob Zombie is a filmmaker. He's not like some lazy hack. Like, he knows how to make a real movie that looks and feels like a real movie. And I'll always give him that no matter what, even if I don't like most of them. I still stand by House of a Thousand Corpses is the best thing he's ever done. Devil's Rejects kind of soured on me over time because I feel like his worst qualities are visible in it to me now. When I was obsessed with it at the time, I'm all about House of a Thousand Corpses now. But and I pretty much don't like the rest of his output. But there's something to his first Halloween has its merits also, which we talked about in that video as well. But yeah, there's something about Halloween 2 that's interesting to me that it did stick with me completely despite how much I hated it. So there's something in it and I submit to that. But Owen, do you have any memories of Halloween 2?
Well, I want to mention something about the Final Destination first. That it's the only thing I'm going to mention about it because I thought it's an interesting little tidbit. So you know the finish of the movie, the very last scene at the cafe.
Mm-hmm.
So that is on the Universal backlot. It is in the New York section that I walk past every single day I work. So that cafe, I literally walk by every single day. Because a lot of things have been filmed on Universal property. Like, obviously, the big one everybody always brings up is Scott Stapp doing With Arms Wide Open with the Creed video. That was filmed at Universal Studios, Florida. So yeah, I walk by that every day. Halloween ties in. Oh, it's like mine's not as like an impactful of a story, but it's not really a story in general. The girl that I liked at the time looked very much like Scout Taylor Compton, so I kind of was indebted to it. I don't mind zombies movies at all. I really don't. I love House of a Thousand Corpses as well. I thought the house was fantastic. I'm very glad we got to do it. Devil's Rejects I enjoyed because of Freebird, but then again, when I think Freebird, the big thing I'll always bring up is Elizabethtown to this day. So there's that. I don't think I've watched anything Rob Zombie has done since. I really don't. There's nothing comes to mind of something he's done that I've seen since Halloween 2.
Yeah, because there's not been a lot. There's been, what, 31?
Nope.
Three from Hell and the Monsters, is that it? And Lords of Salem?
None of the above. I have watched nothing you just mentioned.
I think
So
that might be it.
one.
I don't have much to add to Final Destination 4.
I find it weird that everybody can. I sometimes feel that people got confused with it because at least when it came out over here, and it might have been for you guys as well, but it was listed as Final Destination 3D.
That's right.
Yeah.
So people thought it was okay. So it's the third one, completely forgetting there actually was a third one because it was the whole. People thought the whole thing was how it sort of the Final Destination sort of the definitive article, if you will, basically got sort of buried. So much so that even though I think 5 came out in 3D, they just called it Final Destination 5 because it confused people.
Yeah. I don't think they never put a 4 on the Final Destination until like Retrospective.
Yeah, maybe.
When I think it wasn't until after 5 came out they started putting 4 on like DVDs and promotional
Which,
stuff.
considering where Final Destination 5 eventually goes, it's weird that you'd want to call it for. Maybe. I don't know.
In one way, shape, or form, I've always taken to at least a segment or a specific kill from all the Final Destination movies. And I love Bloodlines, but not as much as AJ did, obviously, because he almost made it one of his favorite movies of the year.
Bloodlines is fantastic.
Bloodlines is fantastic, and it was a fantastic theatrical experience too.
5 is quite good too.
There's some really good kills
It's
because they start figuring out what actually works and what plays with Death's story.
the one we're talking about 4 is notoriously the worst
Yeah.
one. I don't know anybody who doesn't think 4 is the worst one.
That's fair.
Because it's kind of, I'm actually not big on 2. I know people love 2. I kind of don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think it's fair to say that 4 is the worst by quite a large margin. And that's why it especially stands out as that.
Helped with its home media release when it basically had the alternate versions that you could have.
Yeah.
Over that.
3 is great. I always said 3 was the second best one until Bloodline.
I want to say with
Now,
some of the
now I think
kills
Bloodline's
that
probably the best one with the
with
first
some
one
of the
being
alternate things you could get on the DVD for free, it's sort of a la Until Dawn, the game series at least. It changed some bits that somehow was, put on the cutting room floor, but at the same time actually got shot as if it was the movie. So, it's like you couldn't really tell it was like a deleted scene sort of bit. Obviously, it was only vaguely sort of changeable, but it was that nice touch. Yeah, especially with the whole, the first choice you had was to stop them getting on the roller coaster, which just meant the credits immediately started. And it's like, wow, that was a quick move.
So is that those two?
Yeah.
All right. We've got 3 more, and these won't take long. The next one is The Open Road. The Open Road is a road trip movie with Jeff Bridges and Justin Timberlake.
Yes, it is.
Only one takeaway here we can go through real. It just looks like the most cliche thing ever. It's a road trip movie with Jeff Bridges and Justin Timberlake. You can already imagine it in your head, right? I turn to Owen and I say, I will bet you any amount of money that somebody buys a hat.
The hat buying me, yes.
You know the scene in a lot of movies where they're at some store and a character tries on a new hat and that's the thing with them? Usually road trip movies.
Yep.
I was completely convinced. And it didn't happen.
Nobody bought a hat. That's what this movie
Wow.
was for the longest time.
So later on, a distributor formed called Open Road. They eventually went on to distribute Spotlight. They've got a Best Picture winner under their belt. I think they're like dead now, right?
I'm pretty sure they're dead.
Or they're very, very close to it if they're not. And every single time the Open Road logo would come up for an Open Road movie, we would
Yes.
turn to each other and say, I cannot believe nobody bought a hat.
Yep.
Hold on though. I can't prove anything, but I have a theory. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
I have pulled up the Open Road on Wikipedia here, okay? There's 2 versions.
Oh no.
There's one with a running time of 90 minutes, which is the one we saw.
Yes.
And there's a runtime for Germany that's 91 minutes. Is it possible in that 1 minute that we did not see? I don't know. It could happen.
I think it's very likely.
As they would say in Angels in the Outfield. It could happen. I'm assuming we remember nothing else about the open road. I certainly
Nope.
do. The Anna Wintour documentary.
The September issue.
What's
The
that?
September issue, yeah.
Yeah, again, we already talked about this. Documentaries, we watched them. They were kind of on the checklist. We weren't really that into them, unless it was like content we were really into. I don't think I knew who she was. I just knew this is that fashion documentary. Like, I'm sure they must have referenced Devil Wears Prada at some point in this. I don't know for sure. But it's like, when that was out and it's like, oh, is Meryl based on this person or is it not? I don't remember, like, ever, like, knowing who Anna Wintour was for a very long time.
Right.
And it's like, I didn't even, when I finally started, like, learning who she was, I don't think my mind thought to come back to this documentary. The September issue was just that fashion documentary we watched in 2009.
Sounds right.
So, is that anything else?
Moving forward.
Last movie is Taking Woodstock.
Ooh, nice.
Is it? I mean,
I liked it.
I mean, it's a big cast. My latest memory of this movie is I've talked in the past about my extremely close friend who makes montages of directors. And believe it or not, despite the filmography and the way the filmography is, in her absolute genius and her just completely top tier skill, she managed to make a like an incredible Ang Lee montage that felt consistent and everything felt like it belonged. And you can imagine how difficult that must have been to make a coherent Ang Lee montage out of all of his movies. And basically our main takeaway was, of all his movies and all the different places he's gone down, Taking Woodstock was the one we didn't give a shit about, especially when you put it up with the rest of his filmography. It's just a movie that exists. I don't know that I took anything away from this movie. Oh, and I know you were all about Dimitri Martin being the star of a movie.
Yeah.
And Paul Dano's in here. Is Jeffrey Dean Morgan in this?
He certainly is.
Yeah, Emil Hirsch, Liev Schreiber, Dan Fogler, Imelda Staunton, Kelly Garner, Adam Pally. There's a lot of people in this. Holy shit. Richard Thomas was in there? I do not remember him in this. Catherine Waterston before we knew who she was. So Owen, this is where we end. So anything for Taking Woodstock that you remember?
I remember liking it, and that's gonna be where we're gonna put a pin in this till next month.
So yeah, August was pretty eventful.
Yeah.
Especially compared to July. So there you go.
Briefly, there's some of the stuff in chat. Bryce saying Amy Adams is the best thing about Julie and Julia. Julie Powell died too young. Josie mentioning how she died in 2022, born the year before Amy Adams. Josie saying my mom always thought Charlene Yee, Low as they are now known, was weird. Steve Zahn's a great actor. Yeah.
That was the person that I liked back in the day.
District 9, the best movie Peter Jackson never directed.
I remember that being a talking point at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder with him producing District 9 had him more interested in working on it than directing Lovely Bones. I mean, in hindsight, maybe. And as Brian mentions as well, based on Blomkamp's short Alive in Joburg, which is a good short in itself. Might Get Loud is Davis Guggenheim, who did Inconvenient Truth and Husband of Elizabeth Shue. Still to this day, Frankie Jonas and Noah Cyrus still have that great friendship since the English dub of Ponyo. So much so, recently they did a new song together and have matching tattoos. Bry with the hot take saying that Inglourious was boring.
Ooh, no.
That's such a Brian take.
That's 1,000,000%.
Then you go, Brian follows it up with its Vault in a Tarantino movie. That wins. There are some that would still do it because they don't want to pay expensive streaming services. I don't know what that's to do with. Falling off stools, maybe? I don't know.
What I imagine has to do with watching movies in a shady.
Yeah. Tristan saying, hope you're doing well, Owen. Following up with what our favourite film of the year and worst film of the year so far is. We'll save that, Tristan, for next week. And Brian mentioning Postgrad was directed by Vicky Jensen, more known for animation because they directed the first Shrek, Shark Tale, and Spellbound from a couple of years back as well. So we'll be returning next week.
Yes.
For a little bit of September stuff. Where we get to talk about
And my
the
birth month.
other Nelvadine and Taylor movie. The movie that's literally just a number. Some more animated stuff. More Soderbergh.
So the takeaway is that the September issue came out a few days too early.
Then again, isn't that how it usually works? I think the Vogue magazine comes out in August because it's supposed to be the one you read in September.
That makes sense.
So it's quite intentional.
In that respect, kind of, yeah. But yeah, we've got a film coming out on the 9th. And then I don't think there's anything else. And of course, the start of another horror franchise that went too fast too soon. But we'll get to that next week. So, yeah, so we will be back. Is it 6 again next Tuesday?
Make me look at my schedule. 1 second. That's fine. Take a shot. So let's see. It is. Yeah. No. No, wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong schedule. Never mind.
Huh?
God dang it. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, actually, I am looking at the right schedule. It's not 6 on Tuesday. It might actually be earlier.
Okay.
Maybe 4 on Tuesday, potentially.
All right. In which case, I'll have to get the thumbnail sorted before I get back from work.
I only have to work till 2 that day, so yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. That's the scheduled day that we have to flip. Okay. So, that day's up in the air anyway because I have circumstance that day, so we may end up doing that show on Monday the 6th instead. And if that's the case, it'll be 6 o'clock. But we'll let you know.
Righty-ho. So, take us out, Owen.
All right. So thanks everyone for joining us tonight as we move on through August 2009. If you're new to the channel, thank you for joining us tonight. If you're not, then thank you for coming back. We appreciate you. This is the last day of the month, so yeah, happy Pride to everyone. I'm sorry I waited till the very end, but yes, love someone, no matter man, woman, child, or no denomination whatsoever. Absolutely. So that's your show today. I want to thank everyone for joining us, whether live or in archive. We've got more Ashley content forthcoming, more AJ content coming in the future. No time frame on the next review show, and no time frame on the next QA show. We're riding on this wonderful wave of 2009 for a bit longer until we get to awards season for 2009 and take it home. But I will say that content will be returning in the future. We don't have a time frame yet, so I'm just going to say right now that you're not going to get much content on the channel other than these videos for a while. But I promise you more videos will be coming soon. And don't forget, Horror Nights is coming soon as well, which means you'll have more AJ content in October regardless. So you got that to look forward to. Ashley can be found on X at Ash is my name UK. I can be found on X at Sir Owen Disney. And that's your show. Obviously, we've got a brand new water park single called Better Than Therapy. It's from Jinx, and Jinx comes out on the 24th of July, but you can check out Better Than Therapy now. Obviously, we've got a brand new Taylor song that is hopefully going to end up in the Oscar race one way or another, whether anybody likes it or not, but the song deserves it because it's really good. Go ahead and stream that. And that's your show. All hail Matt Johnson, of course. And always remember to have the best day ever. 'Tis the season after all. And in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Until tomorrow, boys and girls. That's all we got to say about that.